The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of the staff and management of Salem Media of Hawaii.
Welcome to Hawaii Money Resource with financial advisor Marko Muskovic.
Marko Muskovic is registered representative and financial advisor of Park Avenue Securities LLC, 7 Hanover Square, New York, 10004, and at Wealth Strategy Partners, 677 Ala Moana Boulevard, Suite 720, Honolulu, Hawaii, 96813. This show is for informational purposes only. Individual risk tolerance and investment objectives must be reviewed prior to making any specific recommendations.
And now your host, Marko Muskovic.
Welcome back. You're listening to Hawaii Money Resource. My name is Marko Muskovic, Senior Partner at Wealth Strategy Partners, also Certified Exit Planner. You are listening to Hawaii Money Resource every Wednesday night, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m., 760 KGU AM radio or 95.1 FM. Hawaii Money Resource been around since 2011. And what are we doing over here every week? We do talk to the business owners, try to pick their brain, see how they started, why they're still doing the business, what's exciting about running the business, what are the hurdles that they need to go through every day by being a business owners, and much, much more. So if you're looking to start your own business, this is the best show to give you a little bit of heads up or you can learn from someone else's experience. HawaiiMoneyResource.com, HawaiiMoneyResource.com. In case you miss our previous shows, you can download the podcast. Hawaii Money Resource is also part of the Money Resource Media. That's something that we started back in a couple of years ago. Now we are in 4 different states, 4 different shows, so you can hear the business owners, not only in Hawaii, but across the United States. Also, we have a Business Exit Planning Hawaii.com, Business Exit Planning Hawaii.com. So if you are a business owner and you're looking to sell your business in one point in the future, Business Exit Planning Hawaii has a lot of resources that you can read and see how you can prepare your business so you can exit that business in style. Today, we do have a guests. We have 2 guys in the studio today. First is Shawn Santos, founder of FogSafe. FogSafe is a fats and oil and grease drain guard. And we have a Colin Kobayashi, who is a Chief Operating Officer. Shawn and Colin, welcome to Hawaii Money Resource.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Thank you for having us.
So FogSafe, Shawn, why don't you give us 30 seconds just overview. What is FogSafe?
FogSafe, FOG is an acronym for fats, oils, and grease. Mm-hmm. So FOG is a standard term used in a lot of industrial, commercial use, and it's a problem. It usually ends up a problem that ends up in our city sewers and oceans and disposal and all that. So I thought of the idea of creating a drain guard in order to capture that oil that's not being disposed properly, and find a way for the residential owner to capture it and dispose of it an easy and safe way that's not available today.
Perfect. Just to make sure, this is for residential use. This is not for commercial, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Perfect. Now we're gonna switch gears and we're gonna go back to your business in our second segment. But before that, it's our tradition to talk to our guests and find out a little bit about themselves. So why don't you guys tell me a little bit about yourself? Who are you and where are you from?
Well, myself,
Shawn first.
Yeah, I'm Shawn, a local boy, born and raised here in Hawaii, on the island of Oahu. Went to high school here, local school. Stayed here. My father was self-employed. He was a contractor, and I was always around parents that are always more self-employed, entrepreneur type. Mm-hmm. And I kind of just product of my environment, you know. So I've been self-employed really since at the age of 24. Became a contractor. I was a contractor for 20 plus years, and slowly transitioned to something other than construction. And throughout my life, I've always had ideas about easier way to do things, inventions, but acting upon it is totally different from thinking about it. And when the idea of FogSafe came around, is when I finally acted upon it.
Perfect. What about you, Colin? Tell us about yourself.
Yes, I'm born and raised in Hawaii. My background is more in the product development side of things, and so I've been doing that for about 20 years, doing different types of product prototyping, production manufacturing, and finding solutions, and kind of pairing that with people who are looking to create new products.
So you guys are both from here. What kept you in Hawaii? Like a lot of people in Hawaii, like sometimes they, go to the mainland, explore. But what about you two? What kept you in Hawaii?
For me, Hawaii's home, family's home. I went to school a little while in the mainland, and it was fun. I mean, I enjoyed myself, but the islands called me back, and my roots are deep here. And it's expensive and things cost money, but there's no other better place to raise a family. And I have Hawaiian ancestry, and that's important to me. So raising my family around the culture and being here, that was important. So I stayed.
Perfect. What about you?
Yeah,
Colin?
for me, family as well. Being here as a kid, I guess I wanted to come back or stay in Hawaii if possible. And so being here is, a special place, and not many other places in the world like it.
No, and I'm from the other side of the globe, and I can tell you the same thing. Okay, perfect. I appreciate you guys sharing a little bit about yourself. Why don't you maybe tell me, other than what you're doing right now and focusing on this product and pretty much taking it from A to Z, what do you guys do for fun? Any hobbies?
I used to have a lot of hobbies until I had kids, and those put on the side. I have 2 daughters that blessed with that were athletic, and they were heavily into volleyball. So now the girls are 24 and 19. So
are they still playing?
The 24-year-old just about ready to hang it up. She was playing professional, and the 19-year-old is still playing collegiate. So they started playing volleyball at the age of 9, 10. So it was quite a long years watching them play volleyball. So I spent a lot of time in the gym, and that occupied a lot of my time. So for fun, it was doing family things, and for myself, just traveling, and probably a little bit of recreational, just getting together with family and friends. But used to do a golf and used to do a little bit of outdoors things, but those kind of things got put aside pretty quick.
Is it because of the family, or because of now you have this new baby over here going
on? Now those things those doors have opened up again. Mm-hmm. But with FogSafe, that's replaced some of the still recreational time. So from family, it's kind of adjusted. Now the girls can take care of themselves, and now focusing on this new business. Yeah.
What about you, Colin?
Yeah, so now most of my time is spent with family. I have 2 kids as well, a little bit younger. So a lot of the weekend time is spent doing activities with them.
Do you feel sometimes like a chauffeuring all over the island?
Yeah, sometimes. So when I can, I like to get out to the beach, get on the water, and then,
enjoy.
Just be outdoors if I can.
Perfect. Okay, perfect. I appreciate you guys sharing a little bit about yourself. Today's guest, Shawn Santos, founder, and Colin Kobayashi, Chief Operating Officer, CEO of FogSafe. Fog stands for Fat, Oil, and Grease. It's a drain guard. We're going to talk more about it. It's for a residential use, so you can probably find it somewhere retail. We're going to learn about that in just a second. Before that, just a reminder, you're listening to Hawaii Money Resource. My name is Marko Miushkovic. Don't forget to check our website, businessexitplanninghawaii.com, and sign up for our events. We have a pretty important event, end of the year event that's coming up, so the seating is limited, so we're encouraging you to go check it out. Again, businessexitplanninghawaii.com. Let's take a quick break. Once we come back from the break, we're going to talk more about the FogSafe, fats, oil, and grease. Shawn Santos and Colin Kobayashi in studio with us. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
.760 KGU.
Part of the Wall Street Business Network.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I liked things to always be the same. Anything new or different would scare and upset me. I was very sensitive to lights and sounds. It was almost like I had bigger eyes and ears than everyone else. So I built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. I didn't like looking people in the eye. It made me feel uncomfortable. I'd throw big tantrums over little things like when my socks didn't match. Sometimes I'd do the same things over and over. Until one day, I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
You can see signs of autism in children as young as 18 months. Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Once upon a time, there was a business owner who worked hard and watched his company flourish. Then came the time to sell his company and retire in Palm Beach. But the path to his happily ever after was full of pitfalls and monstrous taxes. Whatever was he to do?
It's not a fairy tale, and the wrong strategy can deprive you of a storybook ending. I'm Marko Miushkovic, and I know about business valuation. I'm also a specialist in business exit, asset protection, and estate planning. Visit my website, businessexitplanninghawaii.com, and I promise you'll find more than just a trail of breadcrumbs.
BusinessExitPlanningHawaii.com is an online resource designed to help you prepare for the final stage of your business's life cycle. At BusinessExitPlanningHawaii.com, you'll have no trouble at all finding workshops, podcasts, videos, articles, and more. Your happily ever after is just a click away at BusinessExitPlanningHawaii.com.
Every single year, millions of average Americans like you have their personal lives virtually destroyed. In an instant, you could lose control of your bank accounts, credit cards, and worse, your very reputation can be stolen and violated. If you or a loved one is a victim of identity theft, FastIDRecovery.com can help you get it all back. At FastIDRecovery.com, you can put your trust in experts in the field of credit score restoration, IRS fraud resolution, document and ID replacement, and more. Without a fully managed protection and restoration service like FastIDRecovery.com, it can take hundreds of hours and thousands of dollars to reclaim what identity thieves have stolen and fix the chaos they leave behind. Your peace of mind is as valuable as your assets, and FastIDRecovery.com will get everything back, including your sanity. Relief is a simple click away at FastIDRecovery.com. That's FastIDRecovery.com.
You're listening to Hawaii Money Resource with financial advisor Marko Miushkovic. If you'd like to speak to Marko, either on the air or after the show, call toll-free from Oahu and the outer islands, 877-695-2102. That's 877-695-2102.
Welcome back. You're listening to Hawaii Money Resource. My name is Marko Miushkovic, senior partner at Wealth Strategy Partners, also certified exit planner. Business Exit Planning Hawaii, great website for you if you are a business owner and you would like to get out of the business in one point in the future. BusinessExitPlanningHawaii.com. Under the tab Resources, you can read the articles that was published in the past, press releases, white papers. White papers are pretty educational, so you can learn about the process of exit planning. Something that people, especially business owners, should think about it from the day one once they start the business, because the whole process takes a while. So if you want to get out of the business in one point in the future, the best thing is to start preparing now. For us as exit planners, we need at least minimum 3 years in order for plan to work. Why? Because we always forget about the IRS, and we always forget about our taxes that need to be paid upon a sale of the asset, and your business is an asset. BusinessExitPlanningHawaii.com. If you have any questions and you would like to talk to us, the best number is 695-2102, 808-695-2102, or if you're calling from the other islands or mainland, 877-695-2102. Okay, let's go back to our guest today. We have a Colin Kobayashi, Chief Operating Officer, and we have a Shawn Santos, founder of Fog Safe. Fog stands for Fats, Oil, and Grease. It is a product. It's a retail product for retail consumers. It's a drain guard. So when you are grilling or when you are deep frying at home, instead of just pouring everything down the drain, down the sink, you should put one of these thingies and pretty much catch the oil. And instead of going into the landfill or instead of going into the oceans, you can protect the environment. I don't know if I summarized this right, but Shawn, maybe you can tell us a little bit more.
That was close.
You know,
it
looks like from the pictures and everything, I see the bacon on it, I see fish, and everything is deep fried and a lot of oils, and I see the pan and you pouring it. Well, so you can get a picture by looking at the
frying
product.
Is like, that's everybody that cooks. The first thing to do is usually they fry something.
Mm-hmm.
That's the introductory. So frying it's universal, right? Across the world, people fry food. And there's always a residual, whether it's natural, if you're frying pork, there's a natural fat, a grease, oil that's residual from the frying, or if you're adding oil and you're cooking in oil. So the problem is the oil part is not, it's not a consumable, edible part of the cooking process. So you need to dispose of it. And for years, people have been dumping it down the drain and
easy, right? You just pour it, turn the water on, maybe put something else with it and just go.
Yeah, that's it. When you think of it, when it goes down a drain, your conscious thinks, okay, it's gone. It didn't go anywhere. I'm good. But the reality of it is that oil settles somewhere down the line in the sink, in the drains, and it goes into our city sewers, and it causes huge, huge problems, which costs all of us taxpayers money. And eventually, being an island nation like we are, all those oils are trapped and then end up going into our oceans. And I think today, the new thinking, the new environmental thinking that millennials have, or we have, especially in Hawaii, that we're more environmentally conscious than we were perhaps in our parents' days or our grandparents' days. We realize the overall effect and how our environment is important to us. So this has several different parts of value. The first part of it being preventing the oil to go down our drain into our sewers and causing huge sewer drain problems, clogs, things like that, and into our ocean. And the other part of it is the sustainability part of it. The sustainability part is the idea is that we are shipping nearly thousands of gallons of cooking oil to the islands every day, every year, and that oil is being consumed, but it's not being disposed of properly. And by using the fog safe, by providing a container, that container now can be absorbing these oils and it'll be thrown in our trash. And now, instead of them just ending up in the landfill or in the oceans or the sewer, it ends up in our trash, and that trash goes to our H power plant. And now that becomes a fuel source, a very high-grade fuel source, and that turns into electricity. So now we have
So it's a full cycle.
It's a full cycle. So we're bringing a product, we're actually capturing it in these drain guards. It's keeping out of the environment, and it's turning to electricity, which is a clean power energy source. And doesn't take up any space. There's no footprint.
So obviously, good idea. Without hands down, without any doubt, this is like a really good idea. So now, like if someone is listening and they're like always wanted to come out with a new idea, come out with a new product, but they don't know where to start. Let's talk about you. How this all started? Like, I understand you had like many years, you were in a contracting business. You were doing something completely different. Well, how this all led to product, like coming out with the idea and develop the product, and now you are pretty much, selling it to the retail store and they're selling it to end users.
Well, another part of my story is that I was a contractor. I was a contractor very young. Got my license at 25 years old. Was a contractor for 20 plus years. And then I also transitioned to landlording. So I have rental properties that I own. Mm-hmm. And being a landlord, I see the troubles that tenants do. And one of the things was tenants was constantly pouring oil down the drain and giving me a lot of repairs and a lot of maintenance issues. And for the life of me, I couldn't figure out why isn't there anything out there that they can just dispose of the cooking oil. And when I did do some research, there are products out there. And then my other idea came, so why aren't anybody using them? And I go to Home Depot practically daily, and I don't see anything on the shelf to dispose of cooking oil. There's nothing there. There's things, all kind of cleaners, all kind of containers, but nothing for the sole purpose of throwing away cooking oil. And that's when my brain started ticking and figuring out what is the way to get the process going. And what I found is that why people are throwing this oil down the sink, if I can insert one more additional step into the process by adding a drain guard, it fits, because the kitchen sink is universal. It's the same size no matter where you are, what country you go to, the kitchen sinks are all universal in size. So if we put a drain guard that fits into the kitchen sink that people are comfortable with, and they're still dumping that oil in a location that they're comfortable with, we can capture that oil and dispose of it quickly.
So it's a similar idea that there is a sink guards. There is like a metal one, plastic one for different purposes.
They
right?
filter out to catch food and things and all that sort.
Hair, if it's in a bathroom or whatever.
Exactly.
So it's a similar idea. It's just that this is for grease and oil and stuff that is like harmful to the environment.
Correct.
So you like over a number of years, I guess you were observing and looking, and it's not overnight kind of thing. It's kind of build up and plan in your head was forming over a number of years, and at one point you said, wow, this is it. Like, why don't I develop something like this? Like, where did you get that final idea and that final push?
I guess the aha moment came when I had this idea, and I did a little brief research of what was out there, and I didn't see anything similar or anything like it. And then I decided, okay, I'm going to get serious. And then I realized this journey is going to start. I can't start this journey by myself. And so I spoke to a few friends, and then that's when Colin came into the picture. I needed to have someone. I had the idea, but how do you execute it? And where's the process, and where do you begin? And that's when I was introduced to Colin, whose background is in manufacturing.
So how did you guys get together? Like friend of a friend or something?
Yeah, a mutual friend that I knew, that he both knew of Colin, and he gave me Colin's name and number. And like in Hawaii, everybody knows somebody.
Yeah, we all kind of we know same people. Yeah.
And I reached out to Colin, and we set up a meeting, and then I went there and expressed my idea and talked to him about it, and got his feedback.
What do you think, Colin? When the first time when Shawn contacted you, what was you thinking? Is this guy for real, or what's going on? Is this a scam?
That's what I was thinking. Is he for real? And he came with a notebook and a bunch of pictures and sketches, and so we talked about it a little bit and the idea, and trying to figure out exactly what he wanted. And what you look at today as a finished product compared to what was in that notebook, it's almost day and night. I mean, it has evolved a lot. And so we, looked at kind of what he wanted to do and figured out different ways to design it, what it would look like. And there's many different factors that go into getting it designed. It's not just about how it's going to look, but, different types of
practicality, right? Like you need to be practical, need to work.
Yeah, and how it's going to be used and how it's going to be perceived by the end user, by the customer. But one of the other things that sometimes goes unknown is about how you're going to package it and how you're going to sell it. If you're going to put it on a shelf, are you going to go e-commerce? So that was one thing that we had to consider as well.
So when you got introduced to Shawn and he showed you his sketches and what was your first thinking?
My first thought was, I think like many others, I didn't really understand or know what fog really was. I mean, we all cook and we all use oil and throw oil away, but the idea of what fog really is and how it's a big problem to the world today as we know it. I think that was one of the biggest things that I wasn't really known.
Right, because this wasn't your idea, right? This was Shawn's idea, and you needed to buy into it.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, but just the idea of what fog is. I think most people don't know, what fog really is and how it affects the environment. And so, through that process, he kind of explained, some of what he had told you already about his findings in the apartments and clogged pipes and him having to service it and fix it. So that's really where it started, and trying to come up with an idea or a way to design it so that it's cost effective and it'll be used.
Right, because a lot of time there's a lot of good ideas out there, a lot of good products, but those products never see the shelf space time. Because they're either too expensive or hard to manufacture or they're just not doable at that particular moment, right?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So how did you what was your involvement in the beginning? What was your part of this? process?
Essentially taking his idea and
Shawn is laughing.
Shawn's little sketches in his notebook and transforming that into a product that can be designed, prototyped, and then eventually mass produced. And so through that journey, we've come up with what you have today.
I mean, looks like the finished products or final product is actually just like unbelievable. Look, design, pretty light, 3-pack in one package. I see different size. Do you guys have a different sizes? Because this one is 4 ounce. That's the maximum you can absorb.
Yeah, through our process and the responses we're getting from our buyers, people are looking for a larger container, larger product. So we do have a larger product, and hopefully we would like to get it out before the end of the year. And it'll be for more deeper frying, a lot of wok. Local people, they cook in the woks. They have a lot of heavy oils, a lot of bigger capacity. So we have a bigger capacity product to come out.
Is it still for retail, or
it'll still be for retail?
Used for restaurants?
Yeah, we're aiming for retail. Maybe for catering or someone who doesn't have a commercial kitchen. Perhaps food trucks who do not have a commercial kitchen. So that'll be larger capacity for those type of cooks. The whole logic when you make a product, there's so many variables that you have to be thinking about. When we first came out with the idea, we were going to make it to like a 5 or 6 pack volume, trying to think of more units within a box. But then shelf space comes to the idea. And when you talk to the retailers, shelf space is everything.
Yeah, that's your real estate pretty much.
It basically, yes, grocery is a real estate business.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you get your product out there and get as many units out there by taking the least amount of shelf space?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we decided to go on the 3-pack, because typically we can stack 2 high on a shelf and as far as deep as the shelf would allow. Versus if it was higher, we'd only get 1 on a shelf.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean, I see the end product, but this, like I said earlier, this wasn't like created overnight. Like, it took time. So why don't you just walk me through the process? So if someone is out there want to create something, what is the process? Like, you probably now know inside out every single step because it was a trial and error for you.
Correct. Yeah.
So maybe you can tell me what the process is, and second, was anybody else helping you other than it was just 2 of you?
No, it was just Colin and I. I came with the idea, did my own little research, like I said. Then I thought, okay, the next step would be to talk to somebody who's been down the path similar. So that's when I met Colin. And then from there, with Colin's help, we came out with new design after design, and then we came up with prototypes.
Does it design goes first, or practicality and actually... is he going to do the job? What comes first?
So it kind of goes hand in hand, but we started off with the idea of, so through the journey, I guess, I had talked to Shawn about, how much oil do you want to capture, and how is it going to be disposed of, and how is it going to be collected. And so through that that process, we created this concept, and then from that concept, we were able to create a final design. And then we were able to test that design through prototyping. So
it looks like a little plate or like a little bowl.
Yes.
And it does look like that it will fit pretty much any sink hole. And looks like there is a little filter on it. And this is all for me looking at the box. And it looks like that there is something that absorbs the oil. Within the little filter. So is this pretty much it?
Yeah, so the filter that you're talking about is just the top lid, and that's where you would pour your used oil into that top cover, and it'll go through that top cover, the lid, and then in the inside is a pad, a special pad that's going to absorb the oil. And once the oil is absorbed, it's going to congeal and so that it's almost like a slush or maybe like jelly kind of
So what comes out on the bottom?
Nothing. So
everything stays in?
Everything stays in the container, and that pad is going to absorb it. And then when you, after you're done pouring it, it's going to absorb it. And after about 2 or 3 minutes or so, it'll
Hardens
absorb
up.
everything, and it'll kind of congeal. And if you flip it over, all the oil is going to stay inside the container.
So it's like a baby diaper.
Essentially, almost like that, yeah.
So how many like trials and errors was like to figure out what kind of pad will absorb the oil?
We worked with a few different kinds of materials and different pads.
Where did you start? Like, where do you usually start with something like that?
We did some online research and market research for specific pads that would absorb different kinds of oils, and we started with that. But even before that, we had to get the shape of the bowl or the cup defined a little bit more, and we had a couple of different shapes and sizes that we're playing with. But all that kind of comes down to how much oil we wanted to have it capture.
Eventually, we decided that the 4 ounces, which is the oil that we suggest, or the capacity of the drain guard, we found if you fried a pound of bacon, and you come out with about 4 ounces of cooking oil after you fry that. So I set that as a threshold. When Colin said how much oil do you want to absorb, and based it on the size of the container, we had to get a number involved, and we pick a number. And so using that bacon is the most common type of product that people fry. And I said, okay, we fry a pound of bacon, and we came up with 4 ounces. I said, okay, that's a number that we want. And we established that as a target, and then we designed around that.
How many failings or failures did you have before you come out with end product?
Oh, I don't know if it's more of time versus amount of products we actually, I think, over a period of probably about a year and a half, close to by that time before we came out with the final design. I mean, during the process, it was...
Why is it taking so long?
Well, we had to find the type of materials. We had to source those materials. We had to come up with an actual design, the shape. We had to think about, okay, we thought about pouring the oil inside, then we had to think how we're going to keep the oil from coming out. The original idea was this, a container that would absorb the oil and instantly would absorb it, but there wasn't that type of materials was not available. So that idea, that design, the source, and then the packaging, all the literature that came with that.
I guess you need to design the package as well.
Yeah, right? That's something that Colin put. I gave Colin a lot of credit to. He put that packaging together, and everything on there has a lot of thought behind it.
Okay, I think we can make our second break for today. Today's guests are Shawn Santos, founder, and Colin Kobayashi, Chief Operating Officer for FogSafe. Fog stands for Fats, Oil, and Grease. It's a drain guard for retail home use. By the way, before we go on the break, just quickly, where people can buy this product.
Okay, currently it's available at all at Times supermarkets. Big Save.
You almost said your next retail distributor.
Yeah. City Mill, Simply Organized. Mm-hmm. It's available at all the commissaries and Navy Exchange, and available through the Purchasing Hui as well.
What about the online?
Yeah, it's available on Amazon. It's not available to Hawaii customers on Amazon, but it's available to everybody else in the U.S. through Amazon.
Perfect. And just for a retail price for something like this?
The retail, it varies. We don't establish a retail price. Our suggested retail price is anywhere from $3.99 to $4.49.
So you, like retailer, establish their price.
Yeah.
Whoever is distributing, they have
Correct.
their own price. So it's not across the board the same thing.
Correct.
Perfect. Why don't we take our second break? For today, my name is Marko Miushkovic. You're listening to Hawaii Money Resource. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
.760 KGU.
Part of the Wall Street Business Network.
Every day I wake up at 5 to give Dad his medicine. Every day I wake up at 5 to give Dad his medicine. At 6 I make his breakfast. Every day I wake up at 5 to give Dad his medicine. At 6 I make his breakfast. At 7 I shower. Every day I wake up
For those caring for a loved one, we hear you. That's why AARP created a community to help us better care for ourselves and the ones we love. Visit aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
The Grand Canyon. Oh, and what a great photo of your granddaughter.
Yeah, that's Katie. She's 10 and she never stops moving.
How did you keep up?
Oh, I couldn't have a few years ago. I had such pain in my legs back then, I was afraid my traveling days were over. When I finally told my doctor about it, I found out I have PAD.
Right. And what is PAD again?
Peripheral arterial disease. Clogged arteries in the legs. Can really affect your mobility and raise your risk of heart attack and stroke.
How do I know if I'm at risk?
Well, those of us over 50, especially smokers or people with diabetes or heart disease, are at risk. You should talk to your doctor about it. I'm glad I did. Now I'm back where I want to be, on the road again. Look, check this one out. Katie and I climbed this ridge.
Oh, take steps to learn about peripheral arterial disease. Talk to your healthcare provider or go to www.aboutpad.org. That's aboutpad.org. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute.
Every single year, millions of average Americans like you have their personal lives virtually destroyed. In an instant, you could lose control of your bank accounts, credit cards, and worse, your very reputation can be stolen and violated. If you or a loved one is a victim of identity theft, FastIDRecovery.com can help you get it all back. At FastIDRecovery.com, you can put your trust in experts in the field of credit score restoration, IRS fraud resolution, document and ID replacement, and more. Without a fully managed protection and restoration service like FastIDRecovery.com, it can take hundreds of hours and thousands of dollars to reclaim what identity thieves have stolen and fix the chaos they leave behind. Your peace of mind is as valuable as your assets, and FastIDRecovery.com will get everything back, including your sanity. Relief is a simple click away at FastIDRecovery.com. That's FastIDRecovery.com.
You're listening to Hawaii Money Resource with financial advisor Marco Muscovich. If you'd like to speak to Marco, either on the air or after the show, call toll-free from Oahu and the outer islands, 877-695-2102. That's 877-695-2102.
Welcome back. You're listening to Hawaii Money Resource. My name is Marco Mirshkovich, Senior Partner of Wealth Strategy Partners, also Certified Exit Planner. You are listening to Hawaii Money Resource. Hawaii Money Resource every Wednesday night, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m., 760 a.m. KGU or 95.1 FM. If you miss our show by any chance, I always like to remind you that you can download the podcast, and you can download the podcast at two different locations, HawaiiMoneyResource.com or Business Exit Planning Hawaii.com. Why at businessexitplanninghawaii.com? Because that website is dedicated for growing and building your business, and that's why we have it in the category podcast, where you can listen to all the different business owners, their stories, their failures, their success. They are out there, and there's a bunch of them, and if you'd like to become one, it's always good to know what to expect as a business owner. So let's go back to our guest today, Shawn Santos, founder, and Colin Kobayashi, Chief Operating Officer of Fog Safe. Fog stands for Fats, Oil, and Grease. It's a drain guard for retail use that you can easily put on top of your sink and pour your bacon oil after you fried and finish your bacon, frying your bacon, and you can pour it. It pretty much traps all the oils, and you can put it in a trash can and dump it. Pretty straightforward. 1, 2, 3, right?
Easy.
Yep. Easy and clean.
Correct.
Easy clean. Pretty much each of these containers, there's a 3-in-1 package. You can buy them in different retail stores. It's a 3-pack. It can absorb 4 ounces of frying and cooking oil. Pretty safe, pretty inexpensive. I think it's worth, because we need to protect our environment, and this is the product for something like that. There was a lot of stories in the past about the oil traps and all kind of stuff in a commercial use, but not so much in a retail end user at home kind of products. So I guess this is coming like perfect timing. You said a couple of years for development before you put it on the shelves. I know you want to make sure that everything is properly done. What was the thing you were waiting? And it took some time. And it's good for our listeners to know, because you want to protect your product.
Yeah, it was basically a 3-year plus process from the idea first, the search of the idea, all the way to getting it out in retail. And the biggest thing was getting the patents cleared, filing for patents, patent search, retaining an attorney, a patent attorney. Hawaii, there's only so many patent attorneys available.
Like 2.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So, something like that, exactly. And working with the patent attorney, he works with Colin as far as the engineering side, going through the process, making sure he understands the product. He sees the value, and then they find the caveat, the uniqueness of the art, and going through that, and then finding how many patents you can file. If it's provisional, non-provisional, it's utility, design. It's all these decisions. And
I see there was 4 patents filed on this product. Am I correct?
Correct. There's actually a 5th one that's been issued, but there's 5 issued patents on the product, utility and design.
And do you really have a protection so nobody can come in and steal the idea?
I hope so.
And I understand it's never-ending stories with the patents, right?
No, correct. We still, it's just continuous. After you establishing your patents, and then as the product develops, you have to always keep updated on that. And it's not only it's time-consuming, but it's very costly.
So when you started with this idea and product, like you need to have financing done, right? You need to have financial construction behind it. How did you finance this project?
I've fortunately been able to self-finance this up to date. It's not been easy. Fortunately, I was somewhat successful in my previous businesses as a contractor, as a property owner, and I've always just found to keep on moving forward. So this idea came through, and that's part of the process. When I said, you got to be willing to finish what you start, and understand it's a long journey. And everybody's expensive, and you've got to be willing to finish it. And
for some reason, you look at Colin.
No,
is he expensive? No. I'm just kidding. No. Okay, so
inside joke.
It's inside joke. So financing is important. A lot of time, finances is the hurdle that prolongs the process, and it takes longer.
Yeah, people don't realize like I said, there's the engineering, there's the legal, there's the design, there's the packaging, the artwork, the sourcing. We had to eventually travel to Asia looking for a manufacturing.
How did you find that? Like, that's a good point, because someone need to make this.
Yeah, that fell back on Colin, and Colin was our resource to find that. That's part of his expertise.
So, Colin, how did you find out who is the right manufacturer for products?
Yeah, so we had to do a lot of filtering. I don't know, you probably talked to 15 or 20 different suppliers, and talk to them, ask them what they're able to do, look at pricing, quality, look at who they're getting their products from, who they're going to be supplying it to.
So you have a specifics of your product, right? And then you're going to the manufacturer and you ask, can they deliver it? Is there something like that?
Yeah, something like that. And of course, they're all going to say, yes, we can do it.
Of course.
So you have to kind of look beyond that and, take that with a grain of salt and figure out for yourself if they're truthful or not.
Do they provide you with a sample once they've created, or how do you test it?
Some of them did. So for the box, they were able to send us some samples. For the product itself, it was a little bit hard because we had to make molds. So there's a certain cost that's going to be associated with doing that first. And then once you make the molds, then you can make the product from that mold. So we were able to test that on our side by making it from plastic and having it 3D printed, and then taking that
3D printing, you
3D printed, out of plastic. So fortunately, we're able to cut costs by not having to make a mold and able to 3D print just for testing purposes. And once we were able to do that, we found different suppliers that could mold it, and so we selected them, and they made the molds, and then eventually made the product.
During our break, you mentioned earlier that there is no real competition out there currently with the similar products. There is something there that is not really like looking or same process like you guys are approaching this issue.
Correct. Yeah. There's products out there, but it's not in the same thought pattern. It's not all fully through disposing of the product. The fog safe kind of makes it easier. There's less steps involved, it has uniqueness to it.
How do you work? Like, I understand that for people and your distributor, they need to learn about it. How do you educate your market? How do you educate about the product? I understand you need to go on trade shows. You need to do a lot of sampling. You need to approach people, buyers for different retail stores. How does it work?
It's really grassroots. We did everything just from meeting people. Once we get product in hand, it became a lot easier. Prior to getting product in hand, just having prototypes or just concepts, it was hard for people to really understand the product. And we made that mistake early too. Sometimes we approached some distributors or some retailers, and we were too early, and we trying to get the jump on the sales, but with coming in with something that's new that people couldn't really touch, see, really visualize how it can be demonstrated. It was a struggle, and so that was part of the learning curve. So once we got product in hand, we were able to do things like create our own videos, demonstration videos. We were able to secure spokespeople and people that had different contacts and source them and source their contacts.
Does social media helps?
Social media does help. We do have a social media person that works for us, and her job is strictly to constantly post information out there, really make relationships with buyers or with influencers or anybody that has a similar trouble. A lot of fog is a worldwide problem, so there's always trying to get any type of media or any type of information on it's not difficult.
What about international? Did you come across something similar internationally?
No, not really. There's pretty much everybody does it the old-fashioned way. From what I've seen, people are still collecting their cooking oil either through putting it in jars or plastic bags or just dumping it outside in the yard. So there's not really a commercial product for residential for this problem.
And I assume that your mind doesn't stop. You're probably already working on a version 2.0.
Correct. Yeah.
Or some kind of modification for different uses.
We are working, like I said, on a larger capacity container for deeper, heavier frying, and there's some other things in the pipeline we're trying to work on. But as a startup company, sometimes we got to make sure we walk before we run, and we can't get ahead of ourselves really quickly, and that's probably something I've had to learn a lot. This is doing retail is definitely a lot different from anything I've done in the past, but I've always used my own sources or my own efforts for success.
So let me ask you this: like, what is the time frame, or what is the lifespan for a product like this?
Shelf life is pretty much it's limited. There's nothing unlimited, but it has a long shelf life. We're not dealing with food
something
product
or something that is going to perishable.
Right. As long as it stays dry, the shelf life is well contained. Yeah.
What is the target on how many units you guys want to put on the market a year? Because I assume there's like people constantly doing this, so it's repetitive forever. It's not a one-time deal, so you constantly need to be buying this.
Yeah, I mean, currently we've probably sold close to 10,000 units in our state alone. This product's been out, so it's for Hawaii. It's being such a small market. We've done okay, and the product has only been out for 4 months. We've only been on the shelf for 4 months, and literally the first 2 months, nobody knew where we were or knew where to find us. So we're gaining momentum, and the word is getting out. So now the next step is continue to build where we're at now, and hopefully establish something in the U.S. And those seeds have been planted. So we'll see what happens.
Perfect. Why don't we take our last break for today, and then we're going to ask us our 3 questions on the end of the show. Today's guests are Shawn Santos, founder, and Colin Kobayashi, Chief Operating Officer from Fog Safe. Fog stands for Fats, Oil, and Grease. It's a drain guard. Is there a website we can advertise? Fog-safe.com.
Fog-safe.com.
Perfect. Let's take a break, and we'll be right back.
760 KGU.
Part of the Wall Street Business Network.
Bro, Kimo hunted better than any dog. My friends asked me why he was on Great Hunter. I told him because I trained him, treated him with kindness, and in return, Kimo worked hard to please me because we were family and he was my dog. They all laugh at me because they thought chaining, crating, and even starving the dogs was the way to treat a hunting dog. Bro, why do you even think keeping a dog prisoner, even starving them, would make the dog better at anything? That treatment, mostly passed on from friends and family, is animal abuse. Bro, it's our kuleana to stop this. Visit StopHawaiiDogAbuse.com for more information.
People put a lot of thought into going into business, but not so much into how they'll get out, which makes it easy to get stuck. That's why Marko Muscovich handpicks a team of lawyers, accountants, tax, and industry specialists to help you make your business exit plan. You get yourself into business, Marko will help you get out. Registered representative and financial advisor of Park Avenue Securities, LLC, PAS. OSJ 7 Hanover Square, New York, New York, 10004. 1-888-600-4667. Securities, products, and advisory services offered through PAS. Member FINRA, SIPC. Financial representative of the Guardian Life Insurance Company of America. Guardian, New York, New York. PAS is an indirect wholly owned subsidiary of Guardian. Wealth Strategy Partners, LLC is not an affiliate or subsidiary of PAS or Guardian. 2015-09890.
You're listening to Hawaii Money Resource with financial advisor Marko Muscovich. If you'd like to speak to Marko, either on the air or after the show, call toll-free from Oahu and the outer islands, 877-695-2102. That's 877-695-2102.
Perfect. Welcome back. You're listening to Hawaii Money Resource. My name is Marko Muscovich, Senior Partner of Wealth Strategy Partners, also Certified Exit Planner. Today's guests are Shawn Santos, founder, and Colin Kobayashi, Chief Operating Officer from Fog Safe. Fog Safe is a retail product. It's actually, Fog stands for Fats, Oil, and Grease. It's a drain guard. It's actually for retail home use. You can buy this product in a nice square box in a multiple locations. And why don't we repeat one more time where you can buy it?
They're available at all time supermarkets and Big Save on the Kauai. All the city mills, simply organized in Kahala. We're available on the Navy Exchange and all the commissaries, as well as through Purchasing Hui.
Perfect. We have a few minutes left. Just the 3 questions. You guys are funny. You guys are like constantly smiling. First question is, what is the future for this? Where are you guys going with this?
Future is to keep expansion going in the U.S. and then
increase the number of units sold, I guess.
Yep. So, like Shawn said, we had started off here in Hawaii a few months ago, 3-4 months ago. And last month or so, I've been looking at others, bigger cities in the U.S. that have fog problems. And then outside of that, we're looking at several areas of Asia and Europe.
Perfect. Second question for today is, what is your exit strategy out of this?
Exit strategy, good question. Everything is an exit strategy. I
guess you didn't talk about it.
There's a couple of different, I think, ways that we could go about it. One would be to get acquired by another company that does similar activities, and we've seen some movement in that area as far as environmental impact goes, right? So they're trying to clean up the environment and create more greener products. And the other one, I guess, would be to partner with an oil company that sells oil. So
it can be a part of it, part of the solution.
So they have a product, and instead of creating a problem, they'll be able to help
give you a solution right away. Last question is like 10 seconds. what is the word of wisdom that you can give it to someone who is young entrepreneur and he has he or she, they have idea and they want to create something? Just a word of wisdom.
I think everything is real basic. It always comes back to building a team. It's always about relationships. It's always about working hard, stepping forward, and just doing your homework.
Stick to it. Stick to it.
And make sure you're prepared.
Make sure you save some money first so you can finance the project. Guys, today's guests, Shawn Santos, founder, and Colin Kobayashi, Chief Operating Officer. Thank you so much for being guest at Hawaii Money Resource.
Thank you.
Perfect. If you missed today's show by any chance, you can always go online, download the podcast. My name is Marko Miushkovic. You were listening Hawaii Money Resource. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
The Living Balance Sheet and the Living Balance Sheet logo are registered service marks of the Guardian Life Insurance Company of America, New York, New York. The graphics and text used herein are the exclusive property of Guardian and protected under U.S. and international copyright laws. Copyright 2005 to 2011. The Guardian Life Insurance Company of America. This show is for informational purposes only. Individual risk tolerance and investment objectives must be reviewed prior to making any specific recommendations. Marko Miushkovic is a registered representative and financial advisor for Park Avenue Securities, LLC, 7 Hanover Square, New York, New York, 10004. Securities products, services, and advisory services are offered through Park Avenue Securities, a registered broker-dealer and investment advisor. 888-600-4667. Financial representative, the Guardian Life Insurance Company of America, New York, New York. Park Avenue Securities is an indirect, wholly owned subsidiary of the Guardian Life Insurance Company of America. Wealth Strategy Partners is not an affiliate or subsidiary of Park Avenue Securities or the Guardian Life Insurance Company of America. Park Avenue Securities is a member FINRA SIPC.